Hello, this is Lexi Unger.
And I'm Carleigh Procyk, here on Friday, December 13th with your current events for this week.
In international news, a dozen residents of a central Chinese city protested the demolition of their homes by drinking pesticide in Beijing in a desperate bid for attention that underscores the failures of a decade-old petitioning system. The 12 survived the protest Tuesday near a historic watchtower in the heart of China's capital after police sent them to a hospital where they were being treated Wednesday for poisoning. Chinese petitioners sometimes are driven to extreme measures as their frustration boils over after years of unresolved grievances and routine beatings by local authorities. To get attention for their cause, it was a planned suicide attempt. Each petitioner drank about 50 milliliters of pesticide, then lay down on the ground until police bundled them into vehicles and drove them to a hospital. The petitioners have been unsuccessfully seeking redress since 2010 for the razing of their homes by local authorities who provided little or no compensation. Local government and police offices in Wuhan could not be reached by phone. Every year in China, millions of complaints are filed about what petitioners see as injustice or incompetence by local officials in issues such as land expropriation, forced home demolitions, and labor disputes, or the failure of local authorities to prosecute crimes. The system is criticized as ineffective and being prone to abuse. Petitioners are often met with violence when they attempt to take their cases to Beijing, with local governments sending interceptors to stop them with force and keep them in informal black jails until they can be sent home. Last month, Chinese officials announced steps to reform the petitioning system by diverting cases to courts and improving ways for complaints to be lodged online, but critics say the measures are unlikely to help as long as the judiciary is controlled by the Communist Party. These suicide attempts are frequent, happening almost once a month. Some have jumped off buildings, cut themselves, or self-immolated. In some cases, like Tuesday's protests, the petitioners are treading a thin line between a suicide attempt and a desperate plea for help. In August, state media reported that more than 10 people drank pesticide in an apparent group suicide bid in northeastern Beijing. The reports carried few details, though overseas news websites said they were parents of military veterans from the northeastern city of Harbin who had been petitioning unsuccessfully for years to get the city's railway bureau to hire their children. Now, over to Carleigh with a national story.
Among the enduring images from Nelson Mandela's massive memorial service in Johannesburg on Tuesday, there is one of President Obama taking a cell phone pic with his seatmates, Denmark's Prime Minister Helle Thorning-Schmidt and Britain's David Cameron. As the three of them smile for the camera, a stern-looking Michelle Obama can be seen staring straight ahead, hands clasped, as if to remind anyone who sees this photo years from now that it was, after all, a memorial service for one of the greatest human rights leaders. The disapproval could be heard across continents. Everywhere, people tweeted and commented about President Obama's behavior at the service. The First Lady's reaction, not just to the selfie, but to her husband's chatting and joking with the young Danish Prime Minister, was priceless. In one picture, Michelle Obama could be seen glaring over at him while he put his hand on Miss Thorning-Schmidt's shoulder. In another, it appeared the First Lady and the President switched seats, putting Michelle squarely between him and the Prime Minister. The photographer behind the selfie pic of the three dignitaries, though, later claimed that the First Lady herself was joking with those around her a few seconds earlier. The stern look was captured by chance, he wrote. After the images surged through social media, the White House on Wednesday released its own set of photos of Obama's South Africa visit. Perhaps it was no accident that among them was a picture of Obama, the First Lady, and the Danish Prime Minister. But in this one, Obama was talking to his wife, while Thorning-Schmidt seemed preoccupied with her phone. This selfie incident was the second unexpected controversy stirring up by the president in South Africa. And yes, people, this is true. The president of our country was caught taking a hashtag selfie. Back to you, Lexi, with more international news.
Yemeni officials say a U.S. drone strike has hit a convoy heading to a wedding party, killing at least 13 people. Officials told Reuters that 15 people were killed. An airstrike missed its target and hit a wedding car convoy. 10 people were killed immediately, and another 5 who were injured died after being admitted to the hospital. Also, according to the report, 5 more people were injured. The officials say Thursday's attack took place in the Yemeni city of Raqqa, the capital of Bayda province. The city is known as a stronghold of al-Qaeda militants. They said the convoy was heading to a wedding in the village of Kaifa, when it was hit by the drone, and that the strike left charred bodies in the road and vehicles on fire. One official said that al-Qaeda militants are suspected to have been traveling with the wedding convoy. The official spoke anonymously because they were not authorized to brief the media. The U.S. considers Yemen's al-Qaeda branch to be among the most active in the world. Yemen is among a handful of countries where the U.S. acknowledges using drones, although it does not comment on the practice. Now back to Carleigh with more national news.
The total number of people who signed up for Obamacare using the federal healthcare.gov website has grown to 365,000, but still falls way short of the government's own estimate of 1.2 million signups by this time. Though the numbers show that signups are accelerating since the rocky launch in October, they raise doubt as to whether the administration can hit its original goal of 7 million signups by the end of March. Sebelius, who testified before the House Energy and Commerce Committee on Capitol Hill, sounded upbeat when asked about Healthcare.gov's website design, workability, and security. Healthcare.gov is working faster, responding more quickly, and we're able to handle larger volumes of concurrent users, Sebelius said. It was her second appearance before the committee since the marketplace went live October 1st. Pages that once took 8 seconds to load are now responding in under a second. The site's error rate, which was once topped 6%, has been driven down to below 1%. According to a new Health and Human Services report released Wednesday, the pace of health insurance signups picked up in November. The number of people who signed up for coverage through the federal website was 137,204, compared with October's 26,794. The 14 states running their own websites enrolled 227,478 people, up from 79,391 in October. California, which is running its own program, led the nation with more than 107,000 signups. Oregon, also running its own market, had the lowest total with just 44 people enrolled. Florida was the leader among states with federally run markets with nearly 18,000 signups. Rep. Michael Burgess said he'd worried people will sign up for a plan, but then run into problems during the payment process and ultimately not be able to get insurance. In a blog post Wednesday morning, Sebelius announced she will ask the department's inspector general to investigate the contracting process, management, performance, and payment issues surrounding the launch. Rep. Marsha Blackburn, R10, brought up concerns published in a Los Angeles Times story that claimed California's health exchanges leaked names and contact information for tens of thousands of people who went online to check out the California coverage options but did not ask to be contacted. Sebelius pointed out that the California exchange is a state exchange and not run by the federal government. She added, "To my knowledge, the California incident is an isolated case. We don't store personal information on the federal hub." The site went live on October 1st and immediately turned into an impenetrable maze for most consumers. A 2-month program of fixes directed by White House troubleshooter Jeffrey Zients stabilized the site and made it more workable, resolving hundreds of software glitches and adding more hardware to handle high demand for consumers. Jeffrey also found that the technical problems were compounded by inadequate oversight and coordination among teams working for the government and its contractors. This raises questions about how Sebelius and her subordinates have managed the complex program. Through the summer and into the fall, the Secretary had repeatedly assured Congress and the public that the insurance markets would open for business on scheduled October 1st. With his poll ratings in a dive, Obama not only accepted the blame for website woes, but personally apologized for the canceled individual insurance policies. The cancellations issue is highly sensitive politically because it contradicts Obama's promise that if you like your coverage, you would be able to keep it. The president sought to calm the backlash by allowing states and insurances to extend existing plans for another year. 38 have done so, according to analysis by the consulting firm Ava Health. but it's unclear to what extent insurers have taken advantage of the leeway granted by state regulators. The administration has set a goal of signing off 7 million people by the end of open enrollment season March 31st. HHS Health Reform Director Mike Hash says they're still on track to meet it. Uninsured people who procrastinate beyond that date will face tax penalties when they file their returns for the 2014 tax year. That's it for this week's national and international news. I'm Carleigh Procyk.
And I'm Lexi Unger.
Bye.